Welcome dear subscribers and guests of our channel. Top 10 Stories. Today we will tell you a story written by an author. In case you like the video, do not forget to subscribe. In this story we will meet an unfaithful husband who, after 18 years of marriage, divorced his wife and moved in with a young lover, and not only that, the son of this couple also turned out to be a true monument of his father, and also he was ungrateful. Pablo and Carmen met very young in high school. They started dating in high school and everything seemed to be going well between the young couple. After finishing high school and receiving their diplomas, they got married and together they began a new stage in their lives. Pablo, who, helped by his parents and with his work, went to business school and graduated with a lot of effort and work, while Carmen, she took care of the couple's son who was born after a year of marriage. The boy was named Isaias, and while her husband went to university to improve the family's situation. But everything changed when Pablo dedicated himself completely to his son, and he hardly paid attention to his wife. He pampered his son and satisfied all the whims of the boy. The boy was the joy of that couple. Carmen did not like this behavior very much, but she respected her husband and loved him unconditionally. Pablo did not let them lack anything for his wife and his beloved son. But on the 18th birthday of Isaias, things would change. Isaias felt a very strong love and affection for his father, due to the pampering that the man did to the child. With his mother, the relationship was somewhat distant, due to his mother's vision of not being equal to her son and husband. Pablo, who was no longer attracted to his wife and did not see her with the same eyes, secretly began to have an affair with a young lover named July, who was only 3 years older than his son Isaias. He tries to maintain their affair in secret for a while, until one day when Carmen was walking down the street with her purchases, from afar she saw Pablo and July in affectionate intimate moments in a square. Upon seeing that, Carmen was stupefied, furious. She went to the unfaithful couple, catches them in the act and causes a scandal on that street. Carmen screams indignantly, "Pablo! You're shameless! How could you do this to me?" And Pablo, surprised, says, "Here, you don't have to put on a show, Carmen. We'll talk at home." Carmen and Pablo argue in front of July. Outraged by what she saw, Carmen drops her purchases on the ground and, crying, goes straight home. Pablo tells his lover to go home and that he would solve the problem with his wife. "When you get home," Pablo, without further hiding his infidelity, told his wife and said sarcastically, "Since you saw what you shouldn't. I'm in love with another woman and I don't love you anymore." At that moment, Carmen screamed, "I have always done everything for you during these years. I gave up many things for you. I even stopped having a career to live by your side. And that's how you pay me?" And Pablo, laughing at Carmen, tells her, "Look in the mirror. You don't fix yourself. You're left. Until you're 39 years old. She's 70 years old, she's prettier than you. You don't do anything but cook and take care of the house." Those words left Carmen devastated. Without mercy, she added, "Our son Isaias is already of legal age and it is useless for him to want to collect alimony from me. Now that he is a man, he cannot demand anything from me." And the couple argued badly in that house. Pablo mercilessly sends the divorce papers to Carmen. He packs his bags and empties a bank account that he had as personal savings and buys a house to live with his young lover. He left the house and did not want to know more about Carmen. Over time, Isaias also began to mistreat his mother and made 1,000 demands on her. Isaias practically revealed himself as a young model of his father and did not help his mother at home with housework or support his mother. That was a reality check that Carmen couldn't believe was happening. Carmen could bear the humiliation of her ex-husband, but of her son, that would be too much for her. And the son said angrily, "Dad was right. That's why he left you for another woman. It's useless. She's a boring and ugly old woman. She's worth nothing." That was the last straw for Carmen, and with all her fury she slapped Isaias across the face and yelled, "Get out of here. You ungrateful brat. And go to your room now." And Isaias went to his room. The next day, Carmen packed Isaias' suitcases and put them in the car. Carmen went to pick up her son from school, but the boy realized that his mother was going in another direction. And they went to the home where her ex-husband lived, and Isaias asked her, "What are you doing?" "Mom, we should go home." And Carmen replied, "You'll find out soon. Little one." Carmen knocked on the door of Pablo's house and the man, astonished, opened it and said to his ex-wife, "Why did you come here? What are you doing here in my house?" Carmen. Carmen did not say anything to Pablo and spoke to her spoiled son, "So stay with him. You two deserve it. You are flour from the same bag." And Carmen completes Pablo, "That spoiled brat is now your responsibility. Stay with him." Carmen found the strength to overcome all of that. That left Carmen feeling groundless, but she was relieved to be without those two anchors that had made her life hell. Upon receiving a visit from her sister Marian, who came to town, Carmen vented her problems with her sister, who did everything possible to help her dear older sister. Marian told her, "Sister, very sorry. But you are not the first and you are not the last to go through this kind of situation. I'll help you out of this. With such a husband and such a son. Who needs enemies? You'll have to go ahead. With or without him. You are strong. You need to value yourself as a woman. Only weak women, without self-respect and without firmness of purpose, they drag themselves towards an infidel. And I'm sure you're not one of those women." Advised by Marian, Carmen decided to start working out in a gym. There she made friends and met new people. And so the old Carmen flourished, a new Carmen was born, but more confident and determined. And over time, she lost pounds, became statuesque, and more attractive. At the gym, he began to arouse the interest of a single trainer named Andres, a very handsome 40-year-old man with a muscular body and perfect athletic build. He was single and childless, believing that one day, his true love would appear in his life. At first, they became friends and got along very well. Carmen, although seeing the beauty and virility of the coach, and seeing that he seemed like a good man, she did not want to associate with anyone, because their 18 years of marriage turned out to be a failure, and Ella did not believe that anyone would be interested in a divorced woman with a male child. She knows that it was not true. Andres began to invest in Carmen, but he did everything with respect, and also respecting Carmen's individuality. He did not want Carmen to be his by force, but by her own free will. And Carmen was in no hurry to get involved with anyone. Because I wanted to enjoy that single life more. The friendship flowed and they got along very well. Marian was supporting her sister's happiness and wanted to see her happy. But time passed, and with a lot of effort, Carmen decides to give herself a chance and agrees to start a romance with Andres. They seemed to complete each other, they got along very well. Andres did everything for Carmen and wanted to see her happy. He even encouraged Carmen to attend physical education classes and worked hard for her to be a professional, paying out of his own pocket. This was Andres' greatest proof of love, after graduating from the physical education faculty. The woman was very moved by the man's attitude, and with it she felt that she could trust him, and she opened up to Andres, telling him everything about her life, that she was a divorced woman, that she had an adult son. She also told him about the ingratitude of her son and the betrayal of her ex-husband, who left her for a younger woman. Andres was moved and felt sorry for Carmen. Outraged with his ex, and Carmen's son said, "Love, what a bar you went through with these two. You could even expect that from your ex. But from your son? That was terrible." None of them had any idea what a great woman they had inside the house. And Carmen replied, "Yes. Love. I did everything for them. And I seemed to have a happy life, and in the end it was all a big lie. But I thank fate, life, and God for having put a wonderful man like you in my life." And Andres, with a smile on his face, replied, "I will do everything to make you happy. Even if it is the last thing I do in my life. I love you. I can even die. But I guarantee that I will do everything. Until the end of the world. All over the world to make you happy. May God punish me if I don't keep my promise." Marian said goodbye to her sister and returned to her city, but they kept in touch through letters, calls, and social networks. It didn't take long for Carmen to get pregnant, which made Andres look very happy, being a father in the house for 240 years. And to the surprise of the couple, they had a beautiful set of twins, a boy and a girl. The joy of that family was happiness. Carmen and Andres vowed to raise these children together and help each other, so that there are no parenting failures like Isaias, and so that these two children will be good adults in the future. Carmen finally found her soulmate and she was very happy. But on an unexpected day, when Carmen was with her family, watching TV, someone knocked on her door. To her surprise and amazement, a dirty boy with tattered clothes was at her door. Carmen recognized the figure. It was her son Isaias. The boy with a sad and downcast face said, "Mom, how long has it been? Unfortunately, something unpleasant happened. I came to live with you. You won't let me down. Later everything. I'm your son." At that moment, Carmen, acting out of reason and not out of mother's love, asked, "What are you doing here?" "Isaias, I haven't seen you since I sent you to live with your father and you appear here as if nothing had happened, past? You never called me or even asked me how I am. Since you and your dad walked out of my life, things have gotten so much better for me. You and your dad won't ruin my life again. Life." And Isaias, crying, asked for forgiveness and explained everything to his mother. Isaias was having an affair with July inside his father's house, but one day Pablo ended up coming home earlier and caught him and July in bed. He caught them both naked in bed. Pablo was furious and very angry. He threw him and July out of the house and into the street. And Isaias explained that from that day on his relationship with his father soured and he stayed walking the streets, rummaging through garbage cans and eating the leftovers. At that moment, Carmen, hearing what her son was saying, replied, "You prove to be a real man. Just like your father. The difference is that this July person apparently turned out to be just anyone and apparently worthless. Father and son cheated by the same woman. Congratulations to you and your father. As a father. As a son." And Isaiah pleadingly said, "Mom, forgive me. Let me stay here. I'll do anything. You can't leave me on the street. I'm your son. If you want, I'll even be your slave. You can hit me as much as I can. I deserve it. I'll take whatever you make me. But don't leave me here." And at that moment Andres appeared and said, "Love, who is this boy? Do you know him?" And Carmen said to her beloved, "Love, remember that I told you that I had an ungrateful son who, together with my ex-husband, humiliated me and made me suffer. Here is the creature." Andres was amazed by that, and he asked Carmen to come into the house and decided to talk to his wife and asked Isaias to wait in front of the house. And Andres spoke affectionately to his beloved, "Love, he is your son and I will never oppose helping him or receiving him if you want. But think about it. Every decision has its consequences. Do things wisely. Not to regret it later. Don't let your motherly love make you make a mistake that you can hurt and regret a lot. Think calmly before making any hasty decision. My life. My love. Dear. I already know what I'm going to do. Don't worry. I will not abandon my son. But I'm not going to make things easy for your life either. He will have to learn that life is not what he imagines it to be." Then they went back to the door and Carmen said, "Isaias, you are not going to stay here. I already have my life. My husband and my children. You chose this when you decided to support your father. And now I heard that you took your father's wife to bed. You are not worthy of my trust." And Andres added, "Boy, you can be a bad influence on my children and we agree that you can't live here. Not in our family." And Isaias, between tears, replied, "Mom, what will I do? I have nowhere to go. I only have the lady. A mother's love must be infinite." And Carmen responded to her son, "Listen, Isaias. Unlike other mothers, I'm not an idiot. Even mothers need to recognize their limits. And you offended and humiliated me like your father did. No, I'll abandon you. But I don't want you here either. I know that many ungrateful children abuse their mother's love to manipulate in their favor and obtain personal advantages in life. Taught me not to be like that after what you and your father you made me, and I'm not going to fall for that." And Andres added, "We help you. Boy. We pay you a room in a pension to live and we also help you with a professional course to be someone in life. You are already a man and not a child to stay in your mother's lap or in your father's legs. You have the choice. What do you decide? With no other alternative and very embarrassed, Isaias accepted the proposal of his mother and stepfather. They sent him to a pension and Andres and Carmen were paying the rent. The boy decided to study and with a lot of effort, he passed in a contest to be a policeman. And with the help of his mother and stepfather, he graduated and was able to lead an independent life. From then on his relationship with Carmen was better and Isaias asked his mother for forgiveness. His mother forgave him. And so Isaias continued his life as a policeman and visited his mother whenever he could, but he did not have contact with his half-siblings until he proved himself worthy of it. Carmen did not do it out of favoritism towards her younger children or because she hated Isaias, but to protect her children from her older half-brother, because as a wise and intelligent mother, she feared that Isaias would use the children as a weapon against her, and she did it for the protection of the little ones, because trust in Isaias had been completely lost. And Isaiah respected the wishes of his mother and stepfather. He kept going. But one day when Andres and Carmen were in a square, having fun with their children, a sad figure, drunk and disheveled, watched them from afar. Esa figura no era otra que Pablo tras ser traicionado por Olivia y su hijo al pillarlos en la cama. Pablo cayó en una profunda depresión, perdió su trabajo por el shock de la traición y bajo su desempeño, y se volvió alcohólico. Pablo vio que su ex-mujer estaba muy guapa, con un nuevo marido y feliz con sus hijos. Pablo acabó arrepintiéndose demasiado tarde de haber cambiado a una mujer increíble como Carmen por una garona como Olivia. Era prácticamente como si le hubiera quedado una piedra muy pesada sobre la cabeza. Era como si los cielos se hubieran apoderado de él de repente. Y incluso pensó en ir a hablar con su ex, pero vio que Andres era un hombre alto, con un cuerpo musculoso y hasta en los 40 años. Vio que lo habría dado una paliza a Andres y por eso se retiró de allí. Vas a hagar tus penas en bebida y en tu sofá de casa. Carmen y Andres, por su parte, eran firmes y fuertes en la relación con sus hijos y manteniendo un amor mutuo y verdadero entre ellos. Isaias conoció a un colega de la corporación con quien tenía una relación, a su casa y tuvo un hijo. Y siempre visitaba a su madre cuando podía. Pablo terminó solo y triste, su ex se casó, su amante lo engañó con su hijo y la vida lo había dado una dura lección que nunca olvidaría por el resto de su vida. Pablo was deeply shocked and maddened by the harsh punishment that life was giving him. And telling himself, Pablo said to himself, I had it all. A family. A son, and I threw it all away for an affair. Olivia cheated on me. Isaiah cheated on me too. And now my ex is married and has another family. What an idiot I was. I deserve this, and now I'm paying dearly for it. Alone in this house with only this glass of drink and nothing else. This is all my fault. Moral of the story. Nothing justifies humiliating, betraying and hurting anyone. It is not worth fighting for someone who does not value and respect you. The choice you make for a moment of pleasure will sooner or later bring you the fruits you reaped. Don't fight for what is already destroyed, follow a new path and rebuild your life from scratch, with or without someone. But if you choose someone, do it with the right person who will always be by your side and will never let you down. If you liked the story, do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell. Leave in the comments what you have learned.